You are feeling it right now. That exact tightness in your chest when no one is looking and yet you still need to decide. The small lie that would solve everything in a second. The forgiveness that seems to cost more than you can afford to pay. The persistence in a purpose that insists on bearing no visible fruit. You thought it was anxiety. You thought it was exhaustion. You thought it was just a phase. It is not. What you are feeling is the most serious signal that exists on the spiritual path. It is the moment when heaven stops measuring what you do in public and begins to record what you decide in silence. Today, May 8th, this signal ceases to be a confusing burden and becomes a clear coordinate. Because what you choose in the next few hours, without an audience, without applause, without a human witness, is exactly what will crystallize who you are becoming. I am going to show you 3 things in this video. First, why this moral pressure appears in such a concentrated form precisely now in your life. Second, what the biblical name for this process is, and why 3 figures from the scriptures went through exactly the same test you are facing this week. Third, and most importantly, how to get through this moment without losing who you are, without surrendering to the easy path, and without giving up on the path of integrity just because no one seems to be watching. And I warn you, the part that changes the most comes halfway through the video. So stay until then, because the last thing you want is to discover 2 weeks from now that you missed the most important window of the last 7 years of your spiritual life because of a 5-minute decision. Before we continue, you need to recognize what is happening inside you, because most people live through this process without a name, without a map, without understanding that they are going through a decisive moment. They live thinking it's just stress, just work pressure, just accumulated fatigue. And they lose everything. You will recognize it by the symptoms.
Attention, you need to prepare now. I put together an exclusive resource for those who feel set apart for something greater, but live surrounded by noise, distractions, and mental overload. This is a 30-day journey that will transform your life, a guided path to armor your mind and prepare for what's coming, with daily practices of focus, boundaries, and discipline. Stop negotiating with the noise. Learn to spot distractions before they control you and strengthen your mind. Also available in an immersive audio version. Over 10,000 readers have already transformed their lives through the 30-day journey. Thousands of people have already started this transformation. People like you who were tired of living in the fog, ordinary people who decided to stop accepting mental chaos. Take advantage of this limited time offer only this month. Access your link just below in the pinned comment.
See if any of these describe you right now. You are waking up between 3 and 5 in the morning with a specific thought hammering away. It is not common insomnia, it is a moral thought. A situation where you know what the right path is and what the easy path is, and both are pulling you at the same time. You are noticing that people close to you, people you trusted, are testing your character in small ways. A request that involves a half lie. Gossip where your participation would guarantee your acceptance in the group. A professional shortcut that no one would know you took. You are feeling a strange exhaustion in the face of purposes that used to excite you. Not because the purpose died, but because you are being tempted to give up before the fruit. And the thought that returns is always the same. No one will notice if I stop now. You have the sensation of being watched, not by people, by something, by someone, by a presence that does not accuse but records. You don't know how to explain it, but something inside you knows that every small decision is being recorded in a place where nothing is erased. If more than 2 of these symptoms are hitting you right now, pay attention to what comes next. Because this is not a coincidence. It is not all in your head, and it is definitely not a phase. It is what the biblical tradition calls the moment of the hidden test, and it is the test that separates those who finish strong from those who finish bitter. I need you to understand one thing before we move on. What makes this test so serious is not its intensity. You have already been through harder things in life. What makes this test serious is that it comes disguised as mundane. It does not arrive like an epic drama. There is no soundtrack, no announcement, no marked day on the calendar. It arrives in the conversation with your brother-in-law on Sunday, It arrives in the email you are thinking about whether to answer with the truth or a softened version. It arrives in the moment you decide whether to open that app again or whether to close your phone. It arrives when you need to decide whether to speak ill of that person who betrayed you or whether to hold your tongue even when everyone is agreeing with the criticism. Each of these decisions seems small, but that is exactly where spiritual tradition has always taught. Character is not formed in the great public test. Character is formed in the decision that no one will cite at your funeral, in the choice you make when the only spectator is your own mirror and the one who looks from behind the mirror. Before I introduce you to the first biblical figure who lived this in an exemplary way, I want you to do one simple thing, but with real spiritual weight. Stop at the comment section of this video. Write one word, approvado, in capital letters. Not as a request, but as a declaration, like someone saying, I recognize this process, I accept this test, and I choose to go through it with integrity. This word will act as an anchor. Every time you return to this comment in the coming weeks, you will remember the decision you made today. Write it now, approvado in capital letters, and come back to continue with me because what comes now reorganizes everything. The first figure who needs to enter this conversation is someone almost no one studies in churches, but who lived through the most brutal test that exists regarding integrity in the hidden. His name is Obadiah. Do not confuse him with the minor prophet of the same name. This Obadiah appears in the 18th chapter of the first book of Kings. He was the administrator of King Ahab's palace. For you to understand the scale of what this man lived, you need to visualize the scene. Ahab was one of the most corrupt kings in the history of Israel. His wife, Jezebel, was executing prophets of the Lord systematically. It was a religious purge, a human hunt. Anyone caught helping a prophet died along with their entire family. And Obadiah was the palace administrator, a high-level civil servant. He worked every day in person, inside the house of the most wicked couple in biblical history. He sat at the table with Ahab. He received orders from Jezebel. Apparently, he was just another bureaucrat of the regime. Apparently. Because the biblical text reveals something that no one around him knew. Obadiah had hidden 100 prophets of the Lord in 2 caves, 50 in each, and was sustaining these men with bread and water in secret during the persecution. 100 lives, sustained in silence for years. Think about the weight of that. Every day Obadiah woke up with the possibility of being discovered and executed, along with his entire family. Every day he greeted Ahab, knowing he had 100 prophets hidden miles away. Every day he managed the palace of the same regime he was sabotaging from within. And no one knew, no one saw, no one applauded. This is the test you are living right now, on a different scale, with a different scenario, but with the same spiritual structure. You are in environments where integrity is expensive, where your faithfulness to the right path must happen in silence, where if you make noise about your choice you get burned, but if you don't make the choice, you lose yourself. Researchers at the State University of Campinas, Unicamp, in studies on what they call sustained moral stress, describe the condition in which a person must maintain ethical coherence in an environment that punishes that coherence. The most relevant data from this field is this: people who sustain ethical decisions in hostile environments over prolonged periods develop over time a more resilient identity structure than people who live out ethical decisions in environments that reward those decisions. In direct terms, pressure without applause forges a type of character that applause would never form. Obadiah was not saved from the regime at the moment he most wanted to be. The text does not say he was promoted for his hidden faithfulness. It does not say he received a terrestrial prize. What it says is that when the prophet Elijah finally appeared, Obadiah was the man God chose as the bridge between the prophet and the king. The most delicate function of the moment was given to the one who had proven, in silence, that he was trustworthy. The recognition came, but it came later, and it came from above, not from the audience. Now you need to understand a word that completely changes your reading of this process. It is a Hebrew word that appears in the book of Proverbs, chapter 11, verse 2. The word is tsanua. In Hebrew, tsanua is written with the letters tsadi, nun, vav, and ayin. And the most common translation into Portuguese is humble. But this translation is weak. It impoverishes the concept. The semantic root of tsanua does not point to humility in the sense of low self-esteem. It points to something much more sophisticated, the virtue that operates in the hidden. Tsanua is the quality of the person who acts with excellence in places where no one sees the excellence. It is the integrity that does not ask for a witness. It is the faithfulness that does not demand a camera. The medieval Jewish sage Maimonides uses this term when he describes the man who gives alms without the recipient knowing who gave it, and the recipient receives it without knowing where it came from. For Maimonides, this is the highest level of virtue, because it is the only level where virtue is completely disconnected from social reward. When the text of Proverbs says that with the tsanuim is wisdom, it is not saying that wise people are humble in the sense of being small. It is saying that true wisdom dwells in those who act rightly without needing anyone to be watching. Do you understand the difference? Wisdom is not in those who shine, it is in those who shine just as brightly when no one sees. This is the name of the test you are going through. You are being formed in tsanua. You are being trained to be a person whose integrity does not depend on an audience. You are being led to a place where your choice in 5 minutes of solitude has more weight than 5 years of carefully constructed appearance. If this is making sense to you, if this word is touching you, I need to ask you one thing. Subscribe to the channel now if you haven't already. Not for the number, but because the next videos will delve into exactly these themes: the spiritual structure of hidden integrity, the biblical figures who lived this, the Hebrew and Greek names that unlock layers that superficial sermons do not touch. This channel is being built for those who are tired of slogan-based spirituality and want to return to the real depth of tradition. Subscribe, don't miss the next ones. Now the part that changes everything. I promised it would come halfway through the video, here it is. You need to understand why these small decisions have so much spiritual weight. It is not mysticism, it is also science. And the convergence between what biblical tradition teaches and what contemporary neuroscience has discovered is one of the most impressive things that exist. Researchers at the HeartMath Institute in California and the Pontifical Catholic University of Rio Grande do Sul, PUCRS, in parallel studies published over the last 2 decades, demonstrated a phenomenon that changes the way you need to view your micro-decisions. The phenomenon is as follows. When you make a coherent moral decision, a choice aligned with what you recognize as integrity, your heart rate enters a pattern called cardiac coherence. The heart begins to beat in a harmonic, organized rhythm, and this pattern sends signals to the brain that stabilize the function of the prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for conscious decision-making. The opposite also happens. When you make an incoherent decision, a choice that violates what you yourself recognize as integrity, the heart enters into disorder. The intervals between heartbeats become chaotic, and this cardiac disorder sends signals to the brain that diminish your ability to make good decisions in the following hours. In practical terms, each small wrong choice today makes the right choice tomorrow more difficult. The American Psychological Association, known by the acronym APA, published in one of its most cited reviews that the phenomenon called moral self-licensing operates in reverse in private decisions. People who maintain integrity-based choices in unobserved moments develop what researchers call a stable identity core, whereas people who depend on an audience to choose rightly develop chronic identity instability. What does all this mean in direct language? It means that every decision you make now in the hidden is literally sculpting the neural structure that will decide who you are in the coming decades. You are not just making choices, you are becoming someone. And the becoming happens with more force in choices without witnesses than in public choices. Data from the Institute of Applied Economic Research, IPEA, in research on Brazilian institutional trust, points out that the deterioration of trust does not come only from major scandals, but also from the small daily inconsistencies that people witness in close environments. The major scandal serves as noise. The small wrong choices, observed day after day in those who are close, are what destroy the fabric of trust. This applies to society, but it applies with even greater weight to your soul. You are not a liar because of that lie you told last year. You are a liar because of the sum of the 20 little lies that no one saw, and you are not a person of integrity because of the great moment in which you publicly defended what was right. You are a person of integrity because of the 20 silent micro-victories that no one will cite. This changes everything, because it transforms what seemed banal into sacred. It transforms the silly hour into an eternal stage. It transforms the unimportant decision into one of the most important events of your life. To name this continued process, biblical tradition uses a special word. The word is halak. In Hebrew, it is written with the letters he, lamed, and kaf. The common translation is to walk or to go. But again, the common translation hides the depth. Halak does not just mean moving from one point to another. It means the continuous pattern of a person's behavior. It is the verb of consistency. When the text of Genesis chapter 5 verse 24 says that Enoch walked with God and he was not because God took him, the word walked is halak. But the Hebrew verb tense there indicates continuous, repeated, habitual action. Enoch walked continuously with God. It was not a moment, it was a trajectory. It was not a peak, it was a pattern. And here is the detail you need to absorb. Enoch did not perform any recorded miracles. He did not found any religion. He did not write any book of the canon. The biblical text dedicates 3 verses to his life. 3. And yet, he entered the most select gallery of Scripture, alongside Elijah, as one of the 2 men who did not see death. Why? Because he walked continuously in silence, without headlines, without applause. 365 years of constant halak. This is what you are being called to do now. It is not the great performance, it is the halak. It is the silent continuity. It is choosing rightly today and tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, even when no one notices the difference, even when the external result seems exactly the same as that of those who are choosing wrongly. Jewish mysticism tends to say that each person has a unique halak, a pattern of walking that only they can do in the world. You have a halak that no one else will fulfill. If you abandon this walk now, because of the pressure of micro-decisions, something in the divine plan remains incomplete, not because God depends on you, but because the place that was yours remains empty. The second biblical figure you need to know appears almost hidden in the letters of the Apostle Paul. His name is Onesiphorus. He appears in the first chapter of the second letter to Timothy, verses 16 to 18. Most people pass through this passage without realizing the size of what is there. The scenario is as follows. Paul is imprisoned in Rome, in his second imprisonment, the one that would end in his beheading. It is no longer the house arrest of the early days. It is a real harsh imprisonment in a Roman cell. And the most brutal detail is that, at that moment, Paul's name had become poison. To be associated with Paul was to condemn oneself. Paul himself writes in the same letter that everyone in Asia had abandoned him. His ministry companions had disappeared, not out of explicit cowardice, but out of survival. Whoever associated with Paul got burned. And in this scenario, a man named Onesiphorus traveled to Rome. He did not live in Rome. He was from Ephesus. He crossed seas to reach the capital of the empire. And when he arrived in Rome, he did one specific thing. The text says, "He sought me out diligently until he found me." The Greek word used there is spoudios, which means diligently, with haste, with absolute priority. Onesiphorus asked for Paul in a city where asking for Paul was signing your own death sentence. He walked through the prisons, he probably bribed guards, he insisted until he found out where Paul was imprisoned. And he went there, and he sat with him, and he comforted him, and he came back again and again. And here is the part that touches you the most. Onesiphorus was never promoted to the apostolic corps. There is no letter of his preserved. There is no tradition that says he became an important bishop, a famous martyr, or a founder of an influential church. All we know is the small paragraph from Paul. And in that paragraph, Paul writes a phrase that unlocks the eternal meaning of the gesture. May the Lord grant him to find mercy before the Lord on that day. On that day. Paul is saying what Onesiphorus did will not be recorded by men. There will be no earthly prize. But there is a day, there is an instance, there is a place where that will be considered. And it is the only place that matters. You are living your version of this. There is a person who needs your Onesiphorus. There is a friend who is down, and you know that approaching him now will cost you social reputation. There is a family member who has drifted away, and you know that taking the first step will expose you to humiliation. There is a purpose that seems dead, and you know that returning to invest in it will seem naive in the eyes of others, and you are being called to do exactly that, not for the applause, for the on that day. If this word is reaching you, if you are recognizing any name or any face while I speak, leave a like on this video now. The algorithm needs the signal to take this message to the next person who needs it. And if you like it, I promise that each of the next minutes will delve into exactly what you are feeling. Like it now. It is the small gesture that moves the big piece. Now I need to warn you of a trap. Because those who understand this principle run a specific risk. The risk is to start doing the hidden for the sake of the hidden. That is, to transform silent integrity into a new form of performance, now internal. You start observing yourself doing good in secret, and you find yourself approving of yourself. You start feeling proud of your own humility. You start counting to yourself, mentally, how many times you chose the path of integrity when no one saw, and then virtue becomes a mirror. Virtue, the hidden, becomes an internal stage, and you lose yourself again only in a more sophisticated layer. Jesus touched exactly on this point in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 6, when he spoke about alms, fasting, and prayer. He didn't just say, do it in secret. He said, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. This phrase is a semantic shock in the original. He is describing a level of non-self-consciousness where not even you should keep an account of the good you do. It is not enough to hide it from others. You must in some way hide it from yourself. How do you do that? You cannot do it literally, but there is an inner direction. It is a posture where integrity ceases to be an achievement and becomes a natural mode of breathing, where you do not choose to be a person of integrity like someone fulfilling a task, but you are a person of integrity like someone who is. The difference is gigantic. A person who chooses to be a person of integrity is still calculating cost and benefit. A person who is a person of integrity simply does not consider the dishonest path as a path. Research published in high-impact human behavior journals, such as Nature Human Behavior, demonstrated that individuals with what the authors call an internalized moral identity make ethical decisions in unobserved environments in a fraction of a second faster than individuals with a moral identity motivated by reputation. The time difference is tiny, but the difference in origin is abyssal. The former are not deciding, they are being. The latter are always choosing, and each choice costs energy that accumulates as weight over the years. You are being led to this place where integrity ceases to weigh, where choosing rightly is no longer a tiring battle, but a reflex. And the portal to this place is the hidden. The more you practice integrity where no one sees, the closer you get to an identity where integrity is simply who you are. And here enters the next word you need to know. It is Greek, and it appears in the already cited chapter 6 of Matthew in verse 6. When Jesus says, enter your room, and closing the door, pray to your Father who is in secret, the word used for secret is kryptos, from the verb kryptosi. This is the same term that gives rise to words like cryptography, encrypt, encrypted. Crypto does not just mean hidden, it means encoded, ciphered. It is saying that there is a layer of reality that is not decodable by the common senses, and that this layer is where the Father operates. The phrase, your Father who sees in secret, in the original, repeats the root twice, because the Father is in crypto, sees in crypto, and rewards in crypto. Everything happens in a ciphered layer that escapes the gaze of the mundane stage. Researchers at the Institute of Noetic Sciences, founded by astronaut Edgar Mitchell and echoed in studies at Stanford University, published consistent experiments showing that states of focused intentionality, what spiritual traditions call concentrated prayer or directed meditation, produce measurable effects in systems distant from the one praying. I'm not claiming that this proves any metaphysical thing definitively. I'm pointing out that there is empirical evidence that the layer of the hidden of the crypto-Y has real effects that escape conventional recording. What does this mean for you? It means that every moment of prayer you do in your room, with the door closed without anyone knowing, is producing effects in the crypto world. It means that every silent, integrity-based decision is being recorded in a layer that operates by different laws than the mundane record. It means that the forgiveness you granted without the other person even knowing they were being forgiven is changing spiritual structures at frequencies you don't directly perceive. You are not wasting time in the hidden. You are investing in the only bank that operates with eternal interest. And speaking of a deep layer, I need to tell you now, turn on the channel's bell. Why? Because the next video will specifically enter a theme that connects directly with this. I will address the 3 signs that show when a phase of hidden testing is coming to an end, and how to recognize the exact moment when the on that day begins to manifest concretely in your life. It is content that needs direct continuity with this one, and YouTube will only notify you when it comes out if the bell is turned on. Turn it on now. Don't miss the next one. The third biblical figure you need to know is one of the most moving in the scriptures, and almost no one preaches about her. Her name is Rizpah. The story appears in the 2nd book of Samuel, chapter 21. The context is brutal. There was a 3-year famine in Israel during the reign of David, and prayer revealed that the famine was a consequence of an ancient vow violated by King Saul, who had massacred the Gibeonites. To repair the injustice, the Gibeonites asked that 7 descendants of Saul be handed over for execution. David handed them over. 7 men, among them 2 sons of Rizpah, were killed, and their bodies were hung on a hill in the open air, exposed to public humiliation. And here comes Rizpah's gesture. The text says that she took sackcloth and spread it out for herself on a rock on the mountain, beside the bodies of her sons. And there she stayed, from the beginning of the harvest until the rain fell on them. During this time, she did not allow the birds of the air to rest on them by day, nor the animals of the field by night. This phrase in the original Hebrew suggests entire months. Months. A woman alone on a rock scaring away birds of prey and wild animals from the bodies of her sons. Think about what that means. No one was looking, there was no audience, there was no camera, journalist, neighbor. It was her on the rock in the long nights, scaring away hyenas in the dark with gestures that no one saw. And she did not give up. Day after day, night after night, without a guarantee of results, without expectation of recognition, just honoring what she believed needed to be honored. And here comes the most important part. David heard what Rizpah was doing. The text says clearly, it was announced to David what Rizpah had done. Her silent and stubborn gesture, done without an audience, without fanfare, without a campaign, reached the ears of the king. And David, upon hearing it, was moved. He went there. He collected the bones of Rizpah's sons and the others. He also collected the bones of Saul and Jonathan, which were poorly buried. And he buried everything in a dignified place, in the family tomb. And the text closes with a phrase that changes everything. After that, God was entreated for the land. Do you understand what happened? The silent faithfulness of a woman on a rock, out of reach of any human stage, was the gesture that unlocked the spiritual reparation of an entire nation. No one had asked her to stay there. No one was going to pay for her gesture. But her gesture reached heaven, returned through the heart of the king, and moved the cycle of a 3-year famine. This is the hidden test operating in its fullness. You don't know yet which cycles of your family, of your work, of your generation are depending on your silent decisions this month. You think you're just going through a difficult phase, but it may be that your faithfulness today, on the rock where no one sees you, is being the key that unlocks decades of blockage for people you don't even know yet. And to name what is being formed in you through all this, the Greek tradition of the New Testament uses a specific word that needs to enter your vocabulary. The word is dokimos. It appears in several Pauline texts, but the central use is in the 2nd letter to Timothy, chapter 2, verse 15. Be diligent to present yourself approved to God. The word approved there is dokimos. Dokimos comes from the verb dokimazo, which was a technical term from the ancient world. It was the word used for the process by which a metallurgist tested gold. You heated the gold until it melted. The impurities rose to the surface. You removed them. You heated it again. More impurities rose. You removed them, and so on. until the metal had such purity that you could see your own face reflected in it. This was the Dokimos point, the point at which the gold passed the test, the point at which it was approved. The beautiful detail is that the opposite of Dokimos in Greek is adokimos, which appears in Romans chapter 1. Adokimos is the metal that was tested and failed. That did not go through the fire to the necessary purity. That was discarded. You are being tested to be dokimos. The small integrity-based choices of today are the fire that is bringing the impurities up. Each correct decision in the hidden is a layer of impurity that leaves. And the goal of the process is not to punish you. It is to make you so pure that you yourself recognize yourself as a reflection of the divine. When you write approvado in the comment in capital letters, you are making an ontological declaration. You are saying, I accept the Dokimos process. I accept that these micro-battles are the fire that is refining me. I accept being tested, and I choose to go through it until the reflection of the divine is visible in me. This changes how you see the next 7 days of your life. Each irritating situation, each difficult conversation, each small temptation, each exhaustion without applause. All of this is Dokimos fire. All of this is an approval process. All of this is your life being refined to a point where heaven will be able to say approved. Now the practical part. You cannot leave this video without a clear structure to get through this phase. I will give you 4 movements. Note them mentally or come back to this section later. First movement. Name the test. The instant you feel that tightness in your chest before a moral micro-decision, you say internally, this is the hidden test. I recognize it. This simple act of naming unlocks a layer of consciousness that completely changes what comes next. Research published in journals like Psychological Science of the American Psychological Association showed that the act of naming an emotional state or an inner process significantly reduces the reactivity of the limbic system, the part of the brain responsible for automatic reactions. When you name it, you lead. When you don't name it, the impulse leads. Second movement. Set aside 5 minutes of prayer or silence before the decision. Not 5 minutes to ask for immediate guidance. 5 minutes to retreat, to enter the crypto, to close the inner door, as Jesus said. These 5 minutes will not give you the ready-made answer. They will give you the place from which you will answer. There is a gigantic difference between deciding coming from internal noise and deciding coming from inner silence. The decision that comes from silence carries authority. The decision that comes from noise carries anxiety. Third movement. Choose like Obadiah. That is, do what needs to be done without making a fuss. If integrity asks you to help a person, help without telling anyone. If integrity asks you to walk away from a wrong situation, walk away without dramatizing. If integrity asks you to forgive, forgive internally without needing to formally communicate the forgiveness to the other party. Forgiveness can happen in the crypto, and often there it is more real than when it becomes an announcement. Fourth movement. Persist like Rizpah. When you make the integrity-based choice, prepare yourself for prolonged silence. Human recognition may take months, it may take years, it may never come. But faithfulness on the rock is not for recognition, it is for what it unlocks up there. Come back tomorrow to the same decision, and the day after tomorrow, until the rain falls, until the cycle moves, until heaven is entreated. And there is a fifth movement, a bonus. Share this video with someone you know who is in this moment. You know who it is. There is someone in your family, at your work, in your circle of friends, who is going through a hidden test and has no name for what they are feeling. Send this link now, not as propaganda, as an act of Onesiphorus, as a gesture of someone who is willing to approach someone who is in a difficult moment. This sharing can be, for the other person, exactly the coordinate that was missing. Share it now. It is one click, it can change someone's month. And now I want you to understand what May 8th means. Not as an oracular date, not as a cosmic deadline, but as a coordinate of awakening. This day is the day you are receiving this message. It is the day these words reached you. It is the day the spiritual structure of the hidden test, which always operated in silence in your life, gained a name, gained an explanation, gained a method. Before these next few hours, you felt the pressure without recognizing the process. From now on, you recognize it, and recognizing changes everything. Jewish tradition has a concept that describes this phenomenon. It is called Yom HaYadua, the Day of Consciousness. It is not the date something new begins to exist. It is the date you awaken to something that already existed. And once you awaken, you cannot go back. You can no longer act on automatic in micro-decisions. You can no longer treat the hidden as banal. You can no longer separate what you do in public from what you do in private. Integrity becomes whole, and when it is whole, it has another strength. Statistics from the Brazilian Institute of Geography and Statistics, IBGE, in research on subjective well-being indicators for the Brazilian population over 35, show a curious piece of data. People who report greater internal satisfaction are not those with the highest incomes, nor those with the greatest professional recognition. They are those who report, in the survey, feeling at peace with their own intimate choices. This isolated category explains more variance in subjective well-being than many external indicators. In other words, the path of internal peace passes through the hidden. People who are well on the inside are people who are aligned in what no one sees, not those who appear to be well, those who are. You were called to this place. Today, May 8th, is the day this call ceases to be a diffuse sensation and becomes a precise direction. I will leave you with 3 questions that need to accompany you for the next 7 days. Go back to them. Reflect on each one. First, what is the micro decision you have been postponing because it seems too small to matter? Second, what person in your circle needs your silent gesture of Onesiphorus this month? Third, on which rock are you being called to stay like Rizpah, scaring away the birds in the dark without a guarantee of results? These 3 questions, answered with honesty, will give you the map of your current hidden test. And remember, you are dokimos in formation. You are being approved in the instances that matter. Your word for today, written in the comment in capital letters, is approvado. And this word is not a wish. It is a declaration. It is the position you take from this moment on. In the next video, I will delve into exactly what I mentioned earlier. The 3 signs that show when a phase of hidden testing is coming to an end, and how to recognize with precision the moment when the "on that day" begins to manifest concretely in your life. It is the direct continuation of this message, and whoever understands what is in this video will understand the next one at a much greater depth. Bell activated, subscription made, comment written, like confirmed, sharing sent. You have just made 5 gestures of spiritual approval. May they continue. May they multiply. May they sustain you until the next meeting. May you go through this week with integrity, in silence, dokimose, until the next video.
Attention, you need to prepare now. I put together an exclusive resource for those who feel set apart for something greater, but live surrounded by noise, distractions, and mental overload. This is a 30-day journey that will transform your life, a guided path to armor your mind and prepare for what's coming, with daily practices of focus, boundaries, and discipline. Stop negotiating with the noise. Learn to spot distractions before they control you and strengthen your mind. Also available in an immersive audio version. Over 10,000 readers have already transformed their lives through the 30-day journey. Thousands of people have already started this transformation. People like you, who were tired of living in the fog, ordinary people who decided to stop accepting mental chaos. Take advantage of this limited time offer only this month. Access your link just below in the pinned comment.